September the 18th, 1990 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie. As we bring you history tape number 129, we're so excited to have a very special lady with us today for that special history tape. And Granny Tollerson, it is really wonderful to have you on the set today, and we want to welcome Ada Mae Tollerson.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. Now, Granny Tollerson, you have been very important to the history of Grand Prairie, but before we ask you about your activities and ask you to document them, we'd like for you to look out into your camera and tell us about your family. Give us your mother's full name and your dad's full name, and tell us about that immediate family. How many brothers and sisters you had? Would you do that for us?
Well, my mother's name, she was Bessie Jenkins, and she married my father, Alf Vandergriff,
All right.
from Sulphur Springs. And we lived there for years and years.
All right, now where was Granny Tollerson born?
Sulphur Springs.
Sulphur Springs down in Hopkins County?
Right.
Okay, and do you want to tell us the magic date and year so we'll have all that good stuff?
Well, I was born in 1907.
And when's your
October
birthday?
the 2nd.
You've just had a birthday.
No, I'm having
You're having one in October.
2nd day of October.
Oh, you're getting ready to bring that down the pike, aren't you? Well, how about brothers and sisters down in Sulphur Springs?
I have one sister. No, I don't have any in Sulphur Springs. My sister lives in Grand Prairie.
All right, give us her name.
Grace Harrison.
All right.
And my brother, one lives over close to Sherman,
All right, and what is his name?
Louis Vandergriff.
Louis Vandergriff. All right, do you have any other brothers or sisters living?
No, they have. My other brother is deceased.
Would you give his name?
Willie Vandergriff. He was a preacher.
All right, that just sounds wonderful. And living down at Sulphur Springs, what did your dad do for a living, Granny?
Farm.
He farmed.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and were you part of that farming team that helped to do good things out in the field?
I sure was. I lost my mother when I was 11 years old.
All right.
We continued living on the farm. So I had 2 little brothers and a little sister, Willie, Louis, and Grace.
All right.
So Grace still lives with me, close to me.
All right, now where did Granny go to school? Down in the Sulphur Springs area?
Hopkins County.
In Hopkins County?
No.
Tell me the name of the little school.
It was down in East Texas, close to Betty,
All right.
down between Pittsburgh and Gilmer.
All right, do you know the name of the little school?
No, not really.
That's-
It's been so long. I was little.
That's been a long time ago,
Yes,
then.
it has.
All right, and when you were born and raised and went to school in Sulphur Springs, what brought you out of Sulphur Springs up toward Grand Prairie, Texas?
Well, we've run a dairy in Sulphur Springs for years
All right.
for Tom Ramey. So we quit working for him and we moved to Grand Prairie, and my husband worked in Fort Worth.
All right, let's get your husband's name on the document.
Hob Tollerson.
Hob Tollerson, okay. And was he born around the Sulphur Springs area also?
Yeah,
Good.
that's right.
Good. So you moved to Grand Prairie, Texas, and what did Hob do when you all moved to Grand Prairie, Texas?
He worked at in Fort Worth at Consolidated, I believe.
Consolidated Aircraft.
Yeah,
All
that's
right, that's good. And what made you settle in Grand Prairie, Texas?
Well, it wasn't such a big town. We thought we'd make it better. You know, wasn't so crowded.
All right, and where did you live when you first moved into Grand Prairie?
I lived on Ash Street in Grand Prairie.
Okay, down in the Fairview edition. That's great. And do you have children that were born to you and Mr. Tollerson, or you want to give your family history of your immediate family?
When I married him, he had 2 little boys. One was 2 and the other was 5.
Give their names.
Cleo Tollerson and Richard Tollerson.
All right.
So we was married around 3 years. I had my first son, James.
James, okay.
3 years later, I had Dorothy.
All right.
3 years later, I had Laverne.
Okay.
3 years later, I had Patsy.
The baby of the family. All right, now, are all of your children living?
No, I lost my baby girl, Patsy.
You lost Patsy. All right, but the other 3 are living, and where do they live in this area?
Well, now, Dorothy lives at, Laverne, like I heard. She lives in Irving.
Okay, and what is her full name now?
Ford, Rose Laverne Ford.
All right, okay, do they have children?
She has 2 sons,
Would you like to name them?
Ricky and Mark.
Okay, all right, now how about your,
My oldest daughter, she lives in Houston.
and her name?
Dorothy Parker. She married a lawyer.
All right, do they have children?
No,
They don't have any children. Okay, now how about your son?
he has 4 children.
All right, give us his name.
James
That's James. Okay, and where does James live?
lives on the Crestbrook, around the corner from me.
Oh, I see, in Grand Prairie, Texas.
That's right.
And name his wife.
Betty,
All
but
right.
I could.
James and Betty Vandergriff? Right?
Tollerson.
Tollerson, okay. That's right, you were a Vandergriff.
Yeah.
All right, then Tollersons. Don't get me mixed up now, Granny. Okay, now that you have this family on Crestbrook in Grand Prairie, Texas, the 4 children that they have, you want to name them where they go to school?
Well, they're all out of school.
All out of school, all right.
Richard lives, I can think, he lives out south of Grand Prairie there.
All right.
And Jimmy lives across the street from me.
Oh, good.
And Kimberly lives in Irving. And Dawn lives in Grand Prairie.
All right, now, we add up all 4 of your children and your 2 stepsons. How many grandkids do you have, Granny?
Oh, heavens.
A bunch?
Well, not too many.
All right.
Let's see, I got, James has 4.
All right.
Dawn has 1. Kimberly has 1.
Okay.
And Laverne has 2.
All right. And how many great-grandchildren do you have?
Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 6.
About 6 great-grandchildren. Oh, isn't that a heritage? That is wonderful. All right. Now, when your husband moved to Grand Prairie and brought the family, what did Ada Mae do?
Well, I sat around the house for a while.
All right.
And then J.D. Littrell called me from Dallas schools.
All right.
He wanted to know if I'd drive a bus.
And that's a school bus?
Yes.
Okay. I remember Mr. Littrell.
And he asked me about driving the bus. I said, well, I don't know about that. He said, well, you can drive a milk truck, can't you? I said, well, yes, I have. Helped my husband, drive a milk truck. So I went to driving the bus.
For Dallas County Schools in the Grand Prairie area.
I
No?
drove for Grand Prairie only. I drove a Dallas bus, but it was working for,
For Grand Prairie.
right, we parked it in Grand Prairie.
Everything was in Grand Prairie,
Right.
Texas. How long did you drive a school bus?
29 years.
29 years of driving a school bus and kids and all of that good stuff. Where was your route, or most of the time, where was your route?
Over in Indian Hills and over in there, and then down east part of town too.
Uh-huh.
They just had me scared here and yonder.
And when you drive a bus and you're a young lady, how did all of the traffic patterns react to finding Granny driving a bus and hustling these kids to school?
It didn't bother me a bit. I don't know whether it did them or not, but I enjoyed it. And still enjoy it.
You made a lot of longtime friends?
Yes, I have. Quite a few. I see a lot of them now, they'll come up, do you remember me? I said, no, I don't think so. And they said, I used to ride your bus. Told me where and everything. So we carried about ball players to Fort Worth one night. Policeman walked up and was talking to all of us drivers. And he says, ma'am, what are you doing over here? I said, well, I brought a load of players. Kept asking questions. I began to get nervous.
Yes.
And director, he says, don't you remember me? I looked at him, I said, no, I don't. If you get part of that hair over your face, I might know you.
And he was one of the kids you used to...
One that used to ride my bus.
Oh, isn't that
He
exciting?
got a kick out of it.
What do you think was the most exciting event that ever happened to you while you were driving the bus?
A car drove up beside of us one night and drawed a gun on us.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you driving, and tell us a little bit
We
about
was going to Fort Worth to a ball game,
All right.
and I had the cheerleader girls. And they come to hollering and screaming, and they got down the floorboard. I flipped the light on. The teacher says, Granny, flip the light out quick. This car out here's got a gun drawn on us. So I flipped the light out. She kept saying, Granny, don't pay it no mind. Granny, don't pay it no mind. And after we got up where it was kind of safe, I said, how do you think I felt in that gun looking at me like that? Because it pulled on ahead, and then they turned around and pointed the gun toward me.
Yes.
So I kept going. We made
But
it.
you kept your cool and kept right on
Yeah, I
going.
had to. I had too many lives in my hand.
Oh, exactly. That is an exciting experience.
Yes, ma'am,
you know,
it is.
usually a school bus driver doesn't anticipate something
No.
like that, do they?
And then we
Well-
was going one night to another ball game. There's a truck kept far, so I'd pull over in one lane to let it go by, and it'd pull over behind me. And I'd pull over, he'd pull over. I'd pull over, and he'd pull back. So I had to turn left to go on out to where I was going. So when I pulled left to turn, I had my signal lights on. This truck, he pulled over on that side, sideswiped, and knocked the mirror off. So they caught them the other side of Fort Worth. They were drunk.
So bus drivers live a very exciting
Yes,
life,
ma'am.
especially if they're driving a school bus.
You got a lot of lives in your hand.
You really do. Well, you're certainly to be saluted, Ada Mae, for all of the many years that you gave to the Grand Prairie ISD, and especially carrying boys and girls. Did you ever lose your temper with any of the boys
No,
and
ma'am, you
girls?
can't do that.
You're always real sweet to them.
I had to be.
Yes.
You get them on your side, you've got it made.
Oh,
You got to treat them like they're yours.
just like your
That's
boys and
right.
girls, your
That's right.
family. This was your family
That's
riding
right.
on your
They're
bus.
still my family. I'm still working for the little ones.
Okay. All right. Now, spending 29 years driving a bus for the Grand Prairie ISD, and all this time you've raised your family.
Right.
All right. And then you decided to retire, I guess.
Well, I retired after I drove 20 years.
All right.
Rob Goff called me. He says, Granny, I need you up here. I said, I don't work up there no more. He said, well, we need to talk to you. Well, I didn't know what I'd done. So I got nervous. I went up there. And he says, I went in, he said, have a seat. So I sat down, and he went talking to me. I said, what have I done? Why do you want me up here? He said, we need a driver to make special trips. We don't have enough drivers to make the run and on the trips. And he says, we want you to do it. I said, okay, quick, because I was ready.
Ready to go.
I was ready to go.
Ready to go.
I was free 1 week.
And then you drove another 9 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Another 9 years, and finally retired from the Grand Prairie ISD driving school buses. And then you retired for the second time?
No.
Didn't retire for the second time. Then what happened to Ada Mae?
Well, they put me riding a lift bus helping crippled children.
Yes.
And I rode with them, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And then I monitored, right now then, I had to quit that. So now then, I monitored the lunchroom at Milam.
You monitor the lunchroom at Milam Elementary
Right,
School
right, where
with
they-
all of those little fellows?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
While they eat lunch.
All right. What time do you get up to go to work at Milam?
Oh, anywhere from 4 on, most of the time, 4 and 4:30.
That's early in the morning. The
Yes,
kids
ma'am.
don't get there that
No,
early, do
they don't.
No, but Granny gets up and gets ready to go. And did you ever do any crossing guard work?
I'm doing it now.
And that's what you're doing now, working in the lunchroom and doing crossing guard.
That's right.
Also, where do you do your crossing guard work?
Up there close to LBJ,
Out
Grenoble.
at Grenoble and LBJ. How long have you been out doing the crossing guard stuff?
3 years.
3 years for that, and then you go up to Milam and monitor the lunchroom, and got off at 1:30 today and barely got here on time for this
Right.
interview, right?
That's right.
Granny, I think that's remarkable. And then I know you must have some hobbies, because we have in the studio here all sorts of good things that appear to be crocheted. Tell us how you got started to crocheting as a
Well,
hobby.
Lordy, that's years and years ago. I lost my mother when I was 11, like I told you. And my little friend, her mother was an invalid in a chair. We tried to get her to show us how, and she didn't have the patience. So we wanted to learn how to crochet so bad, and her daughter. So we got us crochet needles, some yarn, went in the bedroom, we laid down on the floor. They had a sheet on the bed, had crochet around the edge. We lay there and figured that out, and that's how I learned to crochet. But I can't make heads or tails out of directions, but I can look at it and do it.
Look at it and do it. All right. Tell me how long it took you to make this beautiful little clown that we have sitting here in the middle, who is our guest today. And how many of these have you made?
Oh, heavens, I wish I'd have brought my picture of that.
Oh, that is wonderful. And do you do these for your grandkids or for special
Everybody.
events? For
Anybody
everybody.
that wants them.
Anybody that wants them. You'll build one of these and then sell them to them?
Right.
That is great. And how about, now this is a complete dolly. What kind of dolly is that one?
Just a doll.
Just a doll. It has an unusual face, and then
Right.
you have two beautiful
Now, I dress
dolls
them.
that are, you dress these in the pink?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that's exciting. You want to look over into the box that you have with us and put your notes down about your family and show us some of the good things that you've been doing and what is that? That's a bonnet, kind
That's a hat.
That's a hat. Okay, and you made this hat.
My sister made that one.
All right, and this is done with
It's
elastic?
like this. It's like this, and we cut the rib down.
Yeah. That is so cute. That's wonderful. How long does it take you to build one of these?
About an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half. And you sell these for how much money?
$8.
$8. Boy, that is really good looking. That almost matches me today, doesn't
Sure
it?
does. Got a blue lining.
Oh, yes, it does. Tell us about this.
Well, I make these bonnets.
These are hand done.
Yes, ma'am, they're hand
All right, and you look on the inside, and they're buttoned down,
Right.
aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you sell these also?
Yeah, $8.
$8 for everything is going for $8 today. Oh, that is a cute Western daisy.
I've made a lot of these.
Now,
White
this-
Island embroidery down there at where I did live on 32nd Street, and the ladies wore them to church.
All right, and what is this called?
It's just a little hat. so
It's
I-
just kind of a little hat, but it's different. It looks
different.
sort of like Western days, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
it? You know, we may have to have some of these for Western days.
Fine.
Okay, what else do we have in your little
Well,
show
here's
and tell?
another.
Oh, isn't that cute? Now,
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be really foxy to wear, wouldn't it? Oh, I like that one. Yeah, that matches me, doesn't
There
it?
you go.
Oh, yes, I may have, keep going, and what else do you do? Oh, and this
Make
matches.
beads.
You have the hat and the beads, and what are these beads made of?
Just cloth stuffed with cotton with beads in between.
Okay, all right. Do you belong to the senior citizens group, the AARP, or any of those?
No.
Boy, they'd go crazy if they got a hold of you, wouldn't they, with all of this good stuff? Show me some other things you do.
Well, this is a little girl's purse.
Okay.
You open it up, it's a bassinet with a baby in it.
How precious. Look at the baby. And it's a little girl's purse that opens up to be a bassinet for a
Right.
baby. That is precious. That is very cute. Oh, and you have done...
That's the Easter basket.
You
That's
have
old, it's
crocheted
been
an
handled.
Easter
Mhm.
basket. And what is the real basket made of?
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip or a butter
Bar,
tub,
yeah.
isn't it? And then you have your little rabbit sitting inside.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that exciting? What else do you having to show and tell?
Oh, here. Well, here's a baby blanket.
Oh, and you do this? Oh, isn't that lovely? Let's hold this one up so everyone can see the kind of beautiful work that a crossing guard, a lunchroom monitor, a school bus driver, a lady of many, many talents. That is just lovely. Isn't that pretty? Okay, let's do some more show and tell.
Well, here's a cheerleader doll.
Oh, how
That's a warrior.
wonderful. Yes, and I noticed this is for a warrior cheerleader. Do
Yeah,
you-
but here's a gopher.
Oh, you have the gopher one as well. Okay, so you do not play favorites anymore. You do
No, I
one?
couldn't.
No, because all of them rode your school bus.
When I drove for the Warriors, I wore red.
Oh, you did?
I drive for the Gophers, I wore blue.
Oh, that's great. Now, that is a remarkable thing for you to take all of your job so much at heart that you dress in the proper colors. Okay.
There's some little rabbits.
And what do you make these of?
Just, I don't know what you call it. Just looks like
That
pipe
looks to
cleaners.
be pipe cleaners.
Mhm.
Well, aren't those precious? I'm going to put those in the Easter basket here.
Well, here's another little.
Oh, and another beautiful. Isn't that great? Where do you find time to do this, and when do you do all of this, Ada Mae?
Sitting around at night when I'm by myself.
Sitting around at night when you're not out doing
Running
crossing
around.
guard work and lunchroom monitoring and running around. And tell me, where does Ada Mae run around when she goes?
Well, my sister calls me road runner.
Road runner, okay. Well,
I
do
just go
you
for it.
belong to any organizations or groups or churches or anything that you
Nothing
go
but
to?
Baptist.
I beg your pardon?
Baptist down at Myers.
Oh, the Baptist Church at Myers Road.
Right.
That's great.
I've got a whole bunch of other stuff in here now.
All right, and you have what else in here? Oh, all sorts. She does all sorts of Western wear, beads and leather work and all of this. Well, now, isn't this a show and tell? Now, you're a real entrepreneur, merchant in merchandising. That is so great. And a precious little monkey. Isn't that darling? Oh, yes. All right, anything else that you have in that bag of tricks over there? We want to see all of those before we end our interview. And this is a rabbit that has, is that styrofoam underneath?
Styrofoam ball.
Styrofoam, and then you do all the
Crochet on it,
crochet
right.
around it. And that is exciting, too.
There's
And
another
that's
little
another
girl.
one of the doll babies that, like you have for the
And this
purse.
has been years. That's a little girl's ear warmer
I see.
for winter.
Uh-huh, and
Or
this is
that-
crocheted with a special kind of thread?
Right.
What kind of thread is this?
This yarn.
Oh, that is
Wool.
beautiful.
Here's my Raggedy Ann.
And a Raggedy Ann, we'd have to add one of those to our collection, wouldn't we? Another monkey, another style of monkey that you have, and that one has on a jumpsuit, doesn't it?
Right.
Oh, that's great. And how long have you been doing all of this kind of handiwork?
Oh, Lord, I don't know, a long, long time.
All right, anything else you want to show and tell while we're here?
Well, here's another doll.
Just, do you do any custom orders if someone comes into you and says,
Right.
I'd like to have a thus and so, or like
That's
a
the reason
clown?
these are so dirty, people handle them when they come pick out what they want.
Pick out what they want. These are your patterns, aren't
Right.
they? Oh,
And a
that
little,
is
you
great.
buy little teddy bears and you can redo them.
That is cute.
There's an,
How long would it take you, Ada Mae, to make this?
about a week maybe. If
About
I'd
a
stay
week.
with it, I could do it quicker than that.
But in your spare time, you can do probably one or two of these a week. Is that
Oh,
what
Lord,
you do?
yes.
Uh-huh. Well, that keeps you in pretty good spending money, doesn't it?
Yeah, well,
Okay, what else do you have to show and tell? Oh, a vest.
Jacket.
A jacket. That is well done. Isn't that neat?
so,
All right.
and house shoes.
We
Oh
have
yeah,
about,
here's the one I really wanted you to see.
oh, isn't that
It's
one
bigger
sweet?
than the other.
The big doll that has the little purse for the little girl. That is precious.
And then
Now,
collars. You got time to look?
collars, yes. Let's look at your collars. We have about 3 more minutes.
There's one.
Okay. So if anyone wants a collar or any of these kind of things, all they have to do is call Granny Tollerson.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think you have a magic telephone number that you would like to give us, wouldn't you?
Well, everybody knows my number.
Everyone knows your number, but maybe some, oh, and Booty.
262-1424.
262-1424 is the magic telephone number. If anyone wants any of these good things
here's-
that Granny Tollerson does, yes, you make all sorts of things. All right, now let's hold that in your lap a minute, and I want to get to the end of this interview by asking you a few personal things. You've lived in Grand Prairie about 45 years. And of all of the years that you have lived here, you've made thousands and thousands of friends.
Right.
Would you tell us what you think about Grand Prairie today, how you've liked building your life in this town, and do us a good Chamber of Commerce speech here about Grand Prairie and how you've liked living here and raising your family.
Well, I've lived here this long, and I wouldn't like to live anywhere else because I've know a lot of people, and I know my way around, and I just enjoy being with people. They're all friendly.
All right, now we've not talked about the one thing that has been my favorite of all the things that you do, and that is that you raise irises.
Yes, ma'am.
You are really a connoisseur of some of the loveliest irises. Are you still into the iris business?
I still raise iris.
And do you get out and work up your own flower beds and do
Yes,
all of
ma'am.
that yourself?
Mow my own yard.
And mow your own lawn?
Once in a
think that
while,
is
my
wonderful.
son comes down, he mows it, and then my grandson, sometimes they mow it.
Tell me what got you interested in iris, the raising of
Well, I
iris?
just love flowers, and I just thought they was pretty.
And that's your favorite of all?
That's my favorite.
And of all of the irises you've ever raised, now I know you've shared your bulbs with
Right.
lots and lots of people. Would you tell me what is your favorite of all the ones you've ever raised?
Oh, heavens, I don't know. It'd be hard to do. I raised from white down to mahogany red.
The mahogany red.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Well, you don't know how we appreciate your taking the time to, out of your very busy schedule, a young lady with several years tacked on to her age, but a splendid lady that has done a great service to Grand Prairie, that has made many